If you've been keeping up with NASCAR this season, you've probably sensed it too. The sport feels different right now. There's a quiet tension in the garages, the kind that comes when big changes are on the horizon. Drivers are thinking about their futures, teams are weighing tough choices, and fans are starting to wonder if we're watching the end of one era and the start of another. At the center of it all is one name that no one expected to be in this position: Kyle Busch. The two-time Cup Series champion has always been a fighter. For nearly 20 years, winning seemed easy for him. But right now, he's in the middle of something no one saw coming: a 100-race winless streak. That's not just a bad patch. It's the longest drought of his entire career. And with the 2026 season already 7 races deep, the questions are getting louder. Is this the beginning of the end for one of NASCAR's greatest drivers? Or is there still time for one more comeback? Let's be honest. Watching Kyle Busch struggle like this feels strange. He's the guy who made winning look routine. He's the driver who could turn any track into his personal playground. So how do we get here? From fresh start to frustrating drought. Back in 2023, Kyle made a bold move. After years with Joe Gibbs Racing, he joined Childress Racing to drive the number 8 Chevrolet. At the time, it looked like the perfect reset. The team gave him a new environment, fresh energy, and a chance to prove himself all over again. And for a while, it worked beautifully. He won at Auto Club Speedway early that year. By early June, he had 3 victories. Fans were buzzing. Analysts were calling it a comeback story. Kyle Busch was back in the championship conversation, doing what he does best: winning races and looking unstoppable. Then everything went quiet. No more wins for the rest of 2023. None in 2024. None in 2025. And now, 7 races into 2026, the streak sits at exactly 100 races without a victory. To put that in perspective, his previous worst dry spell was just 36 races back in 2016 and 2017. This is something entirely different. It's not only about the wins, either. This season, he sits 24th in the points standings after 7 races. His best finish so far is 12th. Not a single top 8 result. That has never happened this early in any of his 21 previous seasons, not even in the tough years. His 19-year streak of winning at least one race every season ended in 2024. He missed the playoffs that year for the first time since 2012, and he missed them again in 2025. Right now, in 2026, he doesn't look like a contender. These numbers tell a story that's hard to ignore. Something has changed. The tough questions everyone is asking. Kyle turns 41 in May. He's in the final year of his contract with Childress Racing. And that timing makes everything feel heavier. NASCAR doesn't wait around, even for legends. Teams want results, and this silly season, this year, is shaping up to be busier than last year, when only 2 full-time rides changed hands. Of course, age isn't the only factor. Plenty of drivers have stayed competitive well into their 40s. The bigger issue is performance. Childress Racing has been a solid team, but it hasn't been one of the true powerhouse organizations for some time. So is the problem Kyle himself, the car, the team, or a mix of all 3? It's a fair question, and one that fans debate every week. Still, the pressure is real. Careers can turn quickly in this sport. One strong run can spark new interest. One more quiet weekend can make people wonder if it's time to move on. Kyle has always been vocal about wanting to keep racing and winning. But the reality is sinking in. This might be his last shot to prove he still belongs at the front of the Cup Series pack. A chance to turn the page this weekend. Here's the good news. The next race is the Food City 500 at Bristol Motor Speedway. If there's one place where Kyle Busch can flip the script, it's Bristol. He has won there 8 times on the concrete. The track fits his aggressive style perfectly. Short tracks have always been where he shines. Fans will be watching closely. A strong run, or better yet, a victory, could change the entire conversation. It would quiet the doubts, boost his confidence, and maybe even open new doors. But if the drought continues, the questions will only grow louder. Where could Kyle Busch go next? That brings us to the bigger picture. If Kyle does leave Childress Racing after this season, what are the real options? Right now, 5 possibilities are being talked about in the garage and among fans. Each one tells a different story about where his career could head. First, staying put at Childress Racing. It's not the most exciting choice, but it's not impossible. There have been small signs of progress, even during the tough times. If the team can find some consistency and Kyle feels comfortable, he might decide to stick around for another year. Still, after everything that's happened, it feels like a long shot. Second, joining Spire Motorsports. This one feels like a natural fit. Kyle sold his own truck team, Busch Motorsports, to Spire after 2023. He's already raced and won with them in the truck series. There's real history and chemistry there. Spire has Carson Hocevar locked in long-term in the number 77, but the other seats aren't set in stone. Michael McDowell is also 41, and Daniel Suarez is still trying to prove himself after moving from Trackhouse Racing. Plus, Kyle's young son Brexton is moving up through the ranks. This could be a smart family move that keeps him racing and winning for years to come. Third, a surprise return to Hendrick Motorsports. Yes, the same team where his Cup career began more than 20 years ago. It sounds wild, but hear it out. Alex Bowman has had a tough time in the number 48 Chevrolet lately, including health-related absences. If Hendrick decides to make a change and can't land a top young prospect like Connor Zilish, they might turn to a proven veteran. HendrickCars.com has already sponsored Kyle in the Truck Series with Spire, so the connection is there. It's a long shot, but in NASCAR, stranger things have happened. Fourth, moving to Legacy Motor Club. This option carries a lot of excitement. Legacy is backed by Toyota and led by two all-time greats, Jimmy Johnson and Richard Petty. The team plans to expand to 3 cars in 2027. Kyle wouldn't be reuniting with his old friend Denny Hamlin at 2311 Racing. That door appears closed for now, with Riley Herbst in the number 35 this year and Corey Heim expected next season. But teaming up with Johnson and Petty would create one of the most fascinating storylines in the sport. Imagine the experience and leadership he could bring to a growing organization. Finally, stepping back from the Cup Series. This doesn't mean retiring from racing altogether. Kyle has said he still wants to chase a Truck Series championship. If he shifted his focus to trucks, especially with Spire, he would instantly become a title favorite. But let's be real, most fans don't want to see him leave the Cup Series yet. And deep down, it probably isn't what Kyle wants either. He still believes there's more left in the tank. The bigger picture, legacy on the line. This isn't just about one driver's winless streak. It's about the future of a racer who has given NASCAR fans 2 decades of unforgettable moments. Kyle Busch has 63 career Cup wins. He has 2 championships. He has been one of the most consistent, competitive, and colorful figures in the sport. Now, the question everyone is asking is simple. Is this the beginning of the end or the setup for one last incredible chapter? As a fan, it's hard not to root for him. Kyle has always been a fighter. He's never backed down from challenge. That fire is still there. You can see in the way he talks about racing and the way he pushes every lap. But the sport moves fast. Teams make decisions based on results, not memories. Time waits for no one, not even legends. This weekend at Bristol could be the spark, or there could be another chapter in a tough story. Either way, NASCAR fans are paying attention. We've watched Kyle Busch dominate for years. Now we might be watching him fight for something even more important, his place in the sport he loves. What do you think happens next? Will he stay with Childress Racing, find a new home at Spire or Hendrick, team up with the legends at Legacy Motor Club, or take a new path altogether? The answers are coming soon, and they could reshape the 2027 season in ways we haven't even imagined yet. One thing is certain, Kyle Busch's story is far from over. And in NASCAR, the best chapters are often the ones nobody sees coming.